Ayn Rand, page 796. This is a conversation between Henry Reardon and one of his employees, a government employee, a young man who was educated in the spirit of the moochers, of the collectivists. But now he's changing his mind. He has discovered Reardon. He started asking himself questions, and now he is changing his mind. Now, previously, he was saying that there's no absolute. People shouldn't have any selfish wishes and stuff like that. I'm a prisoner here, don't you remember? I'm to take orders. I have no preferences to follow, no wishes to express, no discussions to make. I want the decision to be yours. You want it to be mine? Yes. You've expressed a wish. The mockery of his voice was in its seriousness, and she threw at him defiantly, not smiling, as if daring him to continue pretending that he did not understand. All right, that's what I wish. Oh, sorry. No. I thought this was between the two, but this is between Dagny and John Galt. So yes, this passage, I like it because of this wish thing. So she says, Dagny first says, I'm to take orders. I have no preferences to follow, no wishes to express. Yeah? And then she says, I want the decision to be yours. And John Galt asks, you want it to be mine? She says, yes. And then he says, you've expressed a wish. And this mental trick and trap is very interesting. A lot of people fall for it. In altruism, in collectivism, they say that I'm God's tool, for instance. Yeah, I have no wishes and preferences of my own. I want to be an instrument in the hands of God. Hello, Alisa, and hi, Kayla. Nice to see you guys. And when they say that, I don't want to have wishes, and then they say, I want to be an instrument for good, then it's already a wish, yeah? Or people would pray for something, and then they're like, God knows best. Well, if your God is omnipotent, omnipresent, he has the best ideal plan for your life, your prayers are obsolete, and you are insulting your God because you're asking an all-powerful, all-knowing, all-loving God to change his plans for your own little petty plans. So there is this trick in collectivism. It can be in religious collectivism, it can be in politics as well. When people say, I am nothing, I am here to serve the interests of my nation, of my political group, and so on. And then they express wishes. Yeah, they say, my nation should be like this, or we should ban this specific thing in our nation. So they express desires, and there is this contradiction. Altruism and self-sacrifice, on which they are brought up and which is injected into their mind, tells them to reject any desires and wishes and dreams of their own. But then there is this other thing. They have their own wishes, yeah, and they try to combine the two, and they come up with a contradiction. And the contradiction is destructive if you do not solve it, if you do not understand it. Thank you for the hearts on YouTube, and thank you to for those 3 thumbs up. I'll read your comments in a second, guys. Thank you so much. So thumbs up, comments, and subscriptions as well as donates are very welcome. So imagine you're driving a car and you're pressing the two pedals all the time, like gas, go further, and then stop. Like you destroy that car through contradiction. Or you make yourself a bowl of healthy salad and then you add a few drops of poison. That's contradiction. Uh, in some schools of thought, contradiction is welcomed. People are like, well, there are different cultures, different perspectives. Let's embrace the differences, the contradiction. And when you drink poison, you destroy yourself, right? Or when you allow viruses to operate on your device, saying, well, viruses are programs too, after all. If these programs called viruses are different from my preferred programs, why should I go after them? So through that, you destroy your device, right? So contradiction is destructive, including mental contradiction, because one program tells you to go left, allegorically speaking, and the other program tells you to go right, and then you're tearing yourself apart. Okay. In Hinduism, in Buddhism, yes, in the world of yoga, we hear these terms like emptiness, detachment, non-attachment. You need to strive to be an empty vessel. You need to strive to be transparent, etc. I lived in that way for several years, and then I discovered that I was also being abused by some people. And I didn't care. I was like, oh, I need to be the sun, like the sun. I need to shine on everyone, you know? And through that, um, I was like, makes no difference whether the person approaching me is good or bad, whether their objectives are positive or negative. And because of that, I was a weapon for some negative things as well. For instance, once I wrote an essay for another person who told me that he would submit that essay as his own and would participate in a competition. And he won that competition with my essay, but I didn't care. I was like, well, the universe is taking care of everything, it's not my karma. And if the person approaches me for help, I just help him. So these type of thinking and the calls for emptying yourself, for not having your own desires and wishes and values, can be very destructive. Destructive, and you can be abused. Okay, now your comments. The real Metroman. Hello, citizen. Keep it up, he says, and you deserve every day that you wake up to spread kindness. See you later, citizen. Hello, the real Metroman. Thank you, that's beautiful. Alyssa says, I like and I subscribe. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Yamoshi, well, I'm not Asian. I'm from the Republic of Armenia, which is in South Caucasus. It is considered what? It's not considered Near East. It's not Central Asia. Some people say it's Eastern Europe, although geographically speaking, it's besides Europe. It's next to Turkey. So in some sense, it could be Asia, but it's not, that Asia you imagine. Although Iran is our southern neighbor. So it's Transcaucasia. The region is called Transcaucasia. Yes. So do you guys know about Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand? Do you know about the philosophy of objectivism? And when I'm reading those passages, you are free to also share your thoughts with me, okay? Tell me whether you agree or not, what you're thinking, etc. Now, there's another quote on the same page. She knew only after it was over what had hung for her on his decision. She knew that had his answer been different, it would have destroyed the valley in her eyes. I think I chose to quote this because of the dramatic style of writing of Ayn Rand. Um, I find it sometimes very radical uh, and very kind of not emotional, that's not the right word, but very radical. I guess that's the best word. So, yes. Yamoshi, well, Marvel Comics, not really, to be honest. This is Atlas Shrugged, a novel by Ayn Rand. This is a best-selling novel, by the way. It's been around for decades. Okay, next quote on page 797. He said nothing until they were alone, walking down the trail to the valley. Then he glanced at her again, the amusement sharper in his eyes, and said, "You had to put me to a test in order to learn whether I'd fall to the lowest possible stage of altruism." uh, so, in the universe of Ayn Rand, altruism is something negative and destructive. Altruism, the word comes from Latin alter, meaning different, the other. So altruism is when you give up yourself, your values, your personality, your well-being, and you place others above you. Others' needs, whims, fears, desires, vision is above you. That's altruism. And altruism is destructive. If you're an altruist, then you are a sacrificial animal. And you should understand, uh, being against altruism doesn't mean being against the idea of community life, of helping causes that you find valuable and important. For instance, when I get rich, I plan to give out scholarships to worthy individuals. For instance, LGBT, young people, or middle-aged LGBT people, especially maybe in my home country, Armenia, who are suffering, who are not given opportunities. And that wouldn't be altruism from the perspective of objectivism, because I have my own goals in this case. Yeah, I want to help talented individuals regardless of their sexuality, or if their sexuality is the basis for their discrimination. So I pursue my own interest. Yeah, I'm interested in helping talented people. So that's not altruism, that's rational selfishness. Yeah. Or another example, my mother is ill and I decide to pay her for her treatment. That's not altruism. Altruism would be if I helped a stranger and I wouldn't help my mother. So suppose I have only very limited amount of money and I could help only one person. If I choose to help my mother or someone whom I find valuable based on something, maybe their mind, their way of thinking, etc., their potential, then I would be selfish. That would be rational, good selfishness. And if I said, no, mother, I will choose this stranger because I'm a Christian or because I'm an altruist, then, and goodbye, mother, I'm sorry, I'm sacrificing you. I don't choose you because that would have been selfish. Now, that's pure altruism. And this is why in Christianity they wash the feet of some criminals or some strangers. The Pope does it to to kind of promote altruism, right? To say that, see, I'm washing the feet of the lowest among people. So that's really altruistic. And altruism can be very bad. Like the person whose feet they are washing, what if that person is a rapist or a criminal who is going to commit more crime? Maybe he has been sentenced for the second or third time already, etc. You know? Do you use music instrument? Yeah, Moshi. I play the piano. Yes, I play the piano. I like music. Yes. Are you a musician? And are you from Japan? Based on your name. Yeah, so altruism is when you sacrifice everything, you know? And if I give away my money to strangers whom I don't know, that's pure altruism. If I give my money away or invest in people whom I find useful or valuable, even based on their reason or their sexual orientation or something, then that's rational selfishness. In uh, the philosophy of objectivism, we have this huge distinction. So altruism is very destructive. Mhm. Now, next, on the same page, 797, Francisco, struggling in the elusive fog of a counterfeit reality, his life a fraud staged by the two who were dearest to him and most trusted, struggling to grasp what was missing from his happiness, struggling down the brittle scaffold of a lie over the abyss of the discovery that he was not the man she loved, but only a resented substitute, half charity, patient, half crutch, his perceptiveness becoming his danger, and only his surrender to lethargic stupidity protecting the shoddy structure of his joy, struggling and giving up and settling into the dreary routine of the conviction that fulfillment is impossible to man. So these are her thoughts. But I think I chose, maybe, I don't remember, but maybe I chose this passage to illustrate the language of Ayn Rand. Uh, yeah, I don't really remember why I chose this passage, but we see her language, which is sometimes very like advanced. It's advanced English, level C2 by European standard, which is the highest level. So you can improve your grammar, your vocabulary with Ayn Rand's works if you're interested. And again, this is Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Okay. Now, page 802. If any part of your uncertainty, said Galt, is a conflict between your heart and your mind, follow your mind. This is an interesting piece of advice. Often we are advised to do the opposite, yeah? And there's even this famous song by Roxette. Listen to your heart. Mm-hmm. Listen to your heart. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you're going, and I don't know why. Listen to your heart. Yeah, we are often preached that. Emotions uh, are like drugs. You know, they can keep us very. They can make us very like high, very fast. But then you fall. Or sometimes when you get inspired with a thought and you work on it, you just write something, you learn something, then you feel exhausted, very tired, demotivated. And it could happen the same day, you know, within dozens of minutes or hours. So that's the problem with emotion. It's like burning wood. It burns fast, and once it's done, once it's burned, you are left with coal, and the wood is gone. You know, so that's the problem with emotions and being emotional. And when you follow your reason, although you need to sharpen your reason constantly, you need to understand what is reason, what is logic, critical thinking. SWOT analysis, yeah, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. There are very useful tools for mental clarity, and you need to constantly work on that and improve. Okay, and when you follow your mind in the long run, especially, you your growth sometimes can be slower. With emotions, it can be like this and then pew, like that. With mind, it can be like this throughout months and years and decades. But it's in the long term, it's more reliable. It has there is more quality in rational thinking. Okay. Um, Next, page 803. She felt an odd calm, almost a confident repose. She knew that it was tension, but the tension of a great clarity. She caught herself thinking, she's functioning well in an emergency. I'll be all right with her, and realized that she was thinking of herself. See, this is interesting. This is well, this takes some level of introspection, like looking inside, and meta thinking, like meta vision, I would even say, like looking at yourself from above or from aside, you know? And sometimes I catch myself with similar thoughts as well. Uh, and this is beautiful when you learn to become your number one friend, your number one teacher, your number one advisor and coach, then you will not feel alone. Let's put it that way. The human mind is a very complex and interesting tool. We have different pieces of software and capacities, like we have memory, imagination, identity, something which we call consciousness. Some people say it exists, others say it doesn't, but I'd say there is awareness, yeah, or consciousness. There is this ability to discriminate, and to discriminate in this case means a good thing, to discern between right and wrong, good and bad. So this type of discrimination is good and very important. So the human mind has many capacities and abilities. Um, sometimes when people say I hate myself, or I am alone, I have nobody, then yeah, it means there is more misery in the life of that person. So when you learn to at least analyze on your own and move forward, sharpening your different capacities, uh, then you at least will constantly grow, and you will have a life of fulfillment and progress, even if you can experience financial hardships, even if you can be having some other problems, including loneliness, etc. But it's a very useful skill. You know, the intellect, this voice that speaks inside of our heads. Yes, the intellect is another of those capacities: memory, imagination, identity, intellect, etc. So it's one person, of course, yeah, but that one person is very multifaceted, and sometimes we can experience uh, as if we have two agencies. I would say we have different pieces of software, but it's the same operating system. Like on your Windows, you can have um, Microsoft Office, you can have uh, Google Chrome, so different pieces of software installed and working together. So sometimes people say, I speak with myself. So there is I and there is myself. Yeah, they can experience it. We can experience it as two different agents, but it's the same human mind, you know? And when you learn about all of this through introspection, through personal development, through some meditative experiences and tools, then you are on the right track, you know? All right. Page 810. You are going back to the outer world because I will be there. Yes, I do not want you to go. You have no choice about it. You are going for my sake. No, for mine. Will you allow me to see you there? No. So this part, you're going for my sake, and then he says no, for mine. So this is very interesting. Again, it's objectivism, the philosophy of objectivism created by Ayn Rand, this lady here. And in objectivism, even when you fall in love and when you decide that you are going to help someone, in the philosophy of objectivism, we admit, we observe and see that it's still about my own sake. You know, sometimes people are like, I love this person and I'm ready to sacrifice myself for that person. But why are you ready to sacrifice yourself for that specific person and no other person? Because you love that specific person, right? So that's not pure altruism as people in love sometimes think. It's not for their sake, it's for your sake. See, I am in love and I am in love with this person. This is why I'm ready to sacrifice myself or to do a lot of things for that specific person. So that's not altruism, that's selfishness. Okay? And we're not saying in objectivism, we're not saying that it's bad, but it is for your own good to understand how it works and to admit that it is still selfishness. Okay? And selfishness is not bad. Of course, altruists and collectivists teach you that selfishness is bad, but in the philosophy of objectivism, rational selfishness is the best choice for yourself. It's not bad, it's very good. Okay? So some concepts have different meanings and values in different philosophies, and selfishness is something very good in the philosophy of objectivism. See, I was in love and I worked in China back in the day, and I bought the ticket for my boyfriend. I made the visa for him and he lived with me in China. I wouldn't have done it for a stranger. Yeah. See, if I would have done it, if I did it for a stranger, that would have been pure altruism. But I did it for my lover, yeah, for my partner. So that was my selfish interest. And that's fine, that's good. That's how we behave. Unfortunately, our cultures are telling us to misinterpret it as pure altruism. And sometimes when this phase of love is over, people start accusing each other, and they could be, I spent so much money on you, I did so many things for you, and look at you, you're not grateful. You did not spend all that money for that other person, you spent it for yourself because you were in love with that person. So it felt good for you to buy presents to that person. I made my boyfriend travel to China because I wanted to feel good with him, okay? And that's completely fine. So when people say I invested so much money or I did so many things and this other person is ungrateful, they are either manipulating, they might be narcissists who are trying to belittle and put some psychological pressure on the other person, or they might be kind of ignorant and they might not understand how their own mind and emotions work. Yeah, so these are very interesting themes. And what do you guys think about these themes? I'm reading Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Currently, there are 23 people who are following me on YouTube. So leave your comments. Do you agree with this or not? Are there any subscribers who had similar experiences? Maybe you did a lot for your exes and now you're regretting? Or do you understand that it was done also for yourself? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And thumbs up are very welcome. There are 33 people right now and only 3 thumbs up. So I encourage others to do the same. Okay, thumbs up and commentaries. Let's interact. Sharing this live is very welcome as well, and donations, super likes are very welcome too. Okay. Now, the next quote will come from page 811. Suppose I were now to decide that I wish to make it final and to stand by it, no matter what the future, no matter what future evidence you observe and what convictions you form, yes, that would be worse than a lie. You are certain that I have made the wrong decision? I am. Do you believe that one must be responsible for one's own errors? I do. Then why aren't you letting me bear the consequences of mine? I am, and you will. So again, very profound and rational dialogues. And this is why I love the philosophy of objectivism. It's very reasonable. And Ayn Rand, the author, has a very interesting saying. I'll try to remember it. It's something like this. You can run away from reality, but you cannot run away from facing the consequences of running away from reality. Very interesting, very beautiful. When we do not care about reality, when we care about blind faith or our own caprices and whims in an irrational way, yeah, then we still pay for them. Yeah, we can pray against the hurricane and the hurricane may still hit, yeah, or we can want something very badly, or we can try to emotionally prevent something. I don't want this to happen, but still that thing can happen, right? So this is why being rational, admitting that reality is real and trying to understand reality through reason and work on it is the best way forward, is the best way for building your own life. Yes. Now, page 827. Dr. Ferris looked at him with a glance of patient. Oh no, I think I need to go up. Okay. This great invention was the product of the genius of a man whose devotion to the cause of humanity is not to be questioned. A man acknowledged by all as the greatest mind of the century, Dr. Robert Stadler. What? Gasped Dr. Stadler, whirling toward Ferris. Dr. Ferris looked at him with a glance of patient mildness. He didn't ask my permission to say that, Dr. Stadler half snapped, half whispered. I like this passage because this demonstrates how people are abused and used and then thrown away in many forms of collectivism. I regularly see this in Armenia, in Russia, like collectivist groups. Like in the US, we saw Elon and Trump, yeah, that relationship, and what came out of it in the end is yet another interesting demonstration of this principle of using and then throwing someone away. So collectivism, right wing, left wing, is full of these kind of attitudes. So this is selfishness, but this is irrational selfishness. In rational selfishness, you are interested in win-win. I win, you win. Yeah. In irrational selfishness, you're interested in win-lose. I win, you lose. My winning means you're losing. And thank you to that other person who gave me the 4 thumbs up. 28 people watching, 26, and only 4 thumbs up. Come on, guys. Thumbs up and comments. All right. And donations are also welcome. Now, if you don't want to fall victim to this kind of thing, then you shouldn't choose collectivism and altruism. Okay? And I will quote again this ugly principle, this ugly concept from the USSR. They loved the following phrase a lot. They used to say, "У нас незаменимых людей нет," meaning we have no irreplaceable people. And that in turn means that individuals are nothing. We can replace any individual with somebody else. In this way, collectivist way of thinking, Mozart, Da Vinci, Freud, Spinoza, Marie Curie, Aldous Huxley, any artist, any scientist, any genius, Einstein, etc., any painter, anyone is replaceable in this way of thinking. And of course it's false. You have only one Bach, only one Mozart, yes, only one Lully, the French composer, etc. But collectivists hate to admit this. Collectivists have this principle of equalization, of imagining that all lives are the same, have the same value, or individuals have the same value. The serial killer, the drug addict, the rapist, the genius, the scientist. For collectivists, everybody is equal, and every life is equal. So the life of Mozart and the life of a corrupt criminal has the same value, which is debatable, yeah. And if we use reason, like, can you say that all trees have equal value? The big tree and the small tree. One tree that produces a lot of oxygen and another tree that produces very little oxygen. No, they don't have the same value. You wouldn't give the same amount of water to all these trees. Yes, the bigger tree would require more water. Yeah, the smaller tree, less water. Similarly, in human societies. So the idea of equity is questionable in some context when you try to base your thinking on objective reality. Okay. Yeah. So I think I may stop here on page 827. There's another quote. Okay, let me read this one too. Lack of faith. A beefy speaker was snarling on the platform in the tone of a street brawl. Lack of faith is the only thing we got to fear. If we have faith in the plans of our leaders, why the plans will work, and we'll all have prosperity and ease and plenty. It's the fellows who go around doubting and destroying our morale. It's they who are keeping us in shortages and misery. But we're not going to let them do it much longer. We're here to protect the people. And if any of those doubting smarties come around, believe you me, we'll take care of them. I saw a lot of this in my own culture in Armenia. It's insane. Like I was accused, we have this long conflict going on between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and for 30-ish years it has been going on, and there was another huge war in 2020 which Armenia lost. So in early 90s Armenia occupied some territories of Azerbaijan, internationally recognized Azerbaijani territories, and in 2020 Azerbaijan took it back. So in my country, I was even approached by teenagers on the street who told me it's because of you we have lost this war. A group of teenagers actually, one of them told me that his father who was a martyr who gave his life for the cause of Nagorno-Karabakh, for Armenia, and they were accusing me, and they were like, it's because of people like you we have lost this war. And in collectivism, this is very popular, very common. Blaming the other. You always blame the other for your own failures. That's irrational, that's immature, but this is how these people go. The collapse of the USSR. A lot of them were blaming the entire world, the entire universe, the bloody West that was conspiring against the USSR. They're not taking any responsibility because it's blind faith, religious and political. So this is why, especially, well, it's both forms of right-wing collectivism like nationalism, religious nationalism, and left-wing collectivism like socialism, communism, Marxism. Whenever they fail, they blame the rest of the planet and they never assume responsibility. Yeah. Okay, that's it for today. And thank you for having been with me. Thank you to all these 4 individuals who gave me thumbs up on YouTube. Whenever you are rewatching this clip, I encourage you to give me thumbs up and leave a commentary. Tell me what you think about some of the thoughts. Tell me what you think of Ayn Rand. Tell me whether this live is useful for you, whether you learn something new. So, it's very helpful. This feedback shows YouTube that my content is useful, and newer people will be able to discover it and benefit from it the way you are benefiting from it right now. So thank you, and see you next time. Bye.